Alright guys, so we're going to fire up the coal forge, and right before I started firing it up, I got to thinking to myself, well, I tried to learn how to fire up a coal forge when I first started, and I used a coal called anthracite, and it's the stuff you can pick up at Tractor Supply, or possibly could. They stopped carrying it at the Tractor Supply near me, so I tried to order it offline just to pick it up in the store, and I can't do that. So I don't know why. So I found another outlet, and this is actually smithing coal. So from my understanding, this is Bituminous coal, if I pronounced that right. And this is the P size. This is the smaller size. I get this from Virginia Blacksmithing Institute here in Virginia, obviously. I get it for about $15 a bag. So here it is. That there. So let's break it open. So there it is. Now lighting, from my understanding, lighting bituminous coal is different from lighting anthracite. I know anthracite, you have to have constant air, you have to have a lot of air. It's not that way with bituminous, from my understanding. Now like I said, I've never worked with this in person, but from my understanding, anthracite requires air, but not as constant. I mean, bituminous requires the air, but not as constant as anthracite. When I was working with the nut coal, if you shut the air off and walked away from it for a while, it would start to die down. And bringing it back to life was a little more difficult. I heard that it's not as difficult with bituminous. So we're going to get to lighting this. What I would do with the anthracite is I would put some newspaper in there and little charcoal briquettes. Let them go and then start piling on the coal. So we'll try this out. We'll see what happens. It's going to get kind of loud when I turn on the blower, but we'll address that here shortly. Well, I don't have any more charcoal briquettes. So, newspaper. Another thing I heard about bituminous is that it smokes more than anthracite initially. Now let's get this. Just gonna light this up. It may be too much. I don't want to pile too much on there and smother it out. Put all the paper in there and we'll see. Let it burn down a little bit. Maybe a little air. I don't think it's doing anything. Let's cut it off. Maybe bag it. We'll get the hang of this. I've kind of been, I'm not going to lie, I've kind of been intimidated by this. Looks like it burnt up all the newspaper. The wood will go good in there. This is one reason that I want to take some courses someplace. One of the things they show you is fire management and coal, you know, all this kind of takes out the curve of it. I think it would be very beneficial. I think my wood is down here. Let's see if we just can't get the wood going. Charcoal, the wood's good and charred. Try a little bit at a time. Alright. We're getting a little bit there. We got some fire coming through. Now, one other thing I heard about bituminous coal is that it's a lot more smoky than anthracite. And I definitely agree with that. So what I'm trying to do, if you can see me through the smoke, or see the forge through the smoke, is bank it up around there. From my research, banking it does a couple things, but one thing, it kind of keeps the heat in the center. Especially if you're not wetting your coal around the center. I mean, wetting your coal around the edges. And right now, I don't have one of them little cups. I'm going to stop it here. I mean, we've obviously got it going. I'll bring you back when it all dies down a little bit. And the smoke burns off. From my understanding, that once the smoke burns off and it burns in, it gets, the coal gets really light, fluffy, kind of airy, and that's coke, which is a little bit different than clinkers. Let me see. Yeah, right here is a clinker, and that's from the anthracite, because obviously this is the first time using this coal, but coke's different. I had a real hard time with the anthracite determining the difference between the coke and the coal. I mean, the coke and the clinkers. So, you know, it's just something you've got to learn. And, you know, as y'all have seen, when I started this channel, I built my coal forge. I tried using a coal forge out of a brake rotor. I did all right, but I mainly used charcoal briquettes. I used one bag of that anthracite nut coal from Tractor Supply. Once that was it, I didn't have no more coal. So that's the extent of my coal forging. Most of my forging has been out of that right there. My propane forge that I got. But propane is like $15, $20 to get that 20-pound thing filled. And I can pay $15 for a bag of this coal. And the coal will last a lot longer than that propane. So to me, it's more affordable. But I'll bring you back, like I said, once the smoke kind of dies down and we've got the good fire going. So I'm definitely going to have to figure this stuff out. Let me turn you around here real quick. And what I'll probably end up doing is kind of trying to get some other smiths out there to tell me what's going on, because this right here is like monstrous. And that's with me wetting the coal down. What I did was take one of these rags, right like this, and I just kind of wet the coal down all around it. And what that's supposed to do is kind of keep all the coal from going up. It's supposed to help you, which that right there looks like a really good fire. But I don't know if it's because I've got a constant heat source that isn't regulated. But I mean, this is just going. So I'm gonna work with it today, but I'm gonna put this video out and hopefully some other guys can help me out. Part of using a coal forge is kind of managing how long you have your bar in there. I don't know if you can see that. There's the other piece of it. This is 3/4 of an inch round. Had it in there for a few seconds and it ate plumb through it. Luckily, I was gonna cut it down further from that, so I'll just put it back in here, kind of watch it and nip off the burnt end there. But it's crazy, guys. There's my fire now. Now the air's turned off of it, but it isn't. I feel like I have it more controlled. One thing I've been doing is taking the wet rag and keeping it dabbed all around the sides of it so that the rest of the coal on the sides of it doesn't catch. I think at first it's just, you know, maybe I didn't have it built up right. I'm not sure. But at first, I mean, this thing felt like it was really out of control. Now, I wanted to show you, here's a piece of that coal that I was telling you about. This is not a clinker, but look at this stuff. I mean, it's just very crumply, and that's what's all on top. I had pulled a piece over to the side to cool a little bit so I could try, but that's what's all on top and in the middle. So I'm getting the hang of it. I'd still like to have some advice, and I'm still going to ask some people to watch the video and give me some advice. And I still want to take a class from somebody. You know, that's what, it's like a traditional type thing. You know, the older generation passes on their knowledge to the newer generation. It's not the older generation's fault that the newer generation just doesn't give a crap anymore. But there's still a few of us out there who want to learn, who want to keep these old school crafts like blacksmithing alive. So, you know, I want to go learn from somebody like that. There are some classes that I'm hopefully going to take here soon. There's also a year-long class I want to take that actually gets me as a certified apprentice here in the state of Virginia. So I'm looking into that. Things are just a little pricey, so I've got to make sure I can afford it and keep my family fed. Of course, my family comes first. So as long as they're fed, I'll be able to take these classes and put this money out. So I hope y'all enjoyed it. That's going to be it for this video. See you on the next one.